Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. I am still Blue Moony, fantasy writer and shine magical library in human skin. I hope so much everyone is well this evening. Well, me, I'm as well as I ever am these days, and sadly the small one's quite ill at the moment as well, so I have one ear out of my headphones and the door slightly cracked, so hopefully if she does wake up upset, I will notice faster this time. And I suppose even if she does, we may still get through this. We only have the epilogue left to go, and it's not actually as long as I thought it was. It still looks like there's quite a lot left, but most of it is Project Gutenberg related notes, so not story related. So probably actually get through this fairly quickly. And if we're just a small stream tonight, we are just a small stream. And save our energy for Saturday's stream, which I am frantically trying to pull together in my spare moments. Managed to find a few random moments during the day today. Yes, I had planned on doing something rather vital for a stream in about a month's time. I planned on getting that done today, but given the small one's illness, she had to stay home from kindergarten, so that didn't happen. But yes, worked on bits and pieces for Saturday's stream, and it's coming together. It'll hopefully go off. I dare not say without a technical hitch, because I'm pretty sure there will be several technical hitches, because I will be attempting a few probably fairly simple things, but I haven't done them before, so it's highly likely I will mess them up on my first go. Anyway, shall we finally finish up the War of the Worlds? Let's do this. Ancio, hello, so lovely to see you. Yes, with any luck, this will be the last War of the Worlds stream. It would have definitely been the last one last week, had the small one been well. Poor thing. Oh dear, that's okay. Just the epilogue, we'll get through it. And if we get through it super quickly, we may, depending on how people are feeling, we'll have a little chat, or we'll break early. Whatever the term is for finishing up a stream a little sooner than meant. But anyway, so the epilogue is chapter 10 of part 2 of the War of the Worlds. So, yes, I don't expect this shall take long. I hope you're well, Ancio, by the way. I hope you are. Oh, dearie me, here we go. The epilogue. I cannot but regret, now that I am concluding my story, how little I am able to contribute to the discussion of the many debatable questions which are still unsettled. In one respect, I shall certainly provoke criticism. My particular province is speculative philosophy. My knowledge of comparative physiology is confined to a book or two, but it seems to me that Carver's suggestions as to the reason of the rapid death of the Martians is so probable as to be regarded almost as a proven conclusion. I have assumed that in the body of my narrative. At any rate, in all the bodies of the Martians that were examined after the war, no bacteria except those already known as terrestrial species were found. That they did not bury any of their dead, and the reckless slaughter they perpetrated, point also to an entire ignorance of the putrefaction process. But, probable as this seems, it is by no means a proven conclusion. Oh, NCI, I'm doing well. It's hard for me to tune in live since you start streaming when I wake up, lol. Yes, I know, it's an issue. It's an issue for a lot of people who watch, I know, and I'm going to attempt to tackle it in the nearish future, because honestly, streaming late at night where I am, it's not ideal for feeling good while streaming. Honestly, It's just time-wise at the moment, it's my only option, but I'm considering other plans. Considering other plans and streaming schedules, and been having a lot of thoughts in relation to both streaming and writing and how to better combine them. And I'll probably do a chatting stream of sorts in a couple of weeks to sort of go over all that with you. Oh, hi King Theseus, hiya to you as well. It's lovely to see you. We're finally at the final War of the Worlds stream. Hopefully, we're in the epilogue. What's the word? It would be inconceivable if we didn't finish tonight. I don't want to interrupt the reading session too much though, so I'll be lurking. You are oh so welcome to lurk. Oh so welcome. And I don't suppose interrupting is actually too bad this evening in particular, given we just have the epilogue to read, but no, I would never want someone who would prefer to lurk to chat if they prefer not to chat at the time. Generally whenever I watch anyone, I lurk. Blue is also a lurker. Oh dear, where are we? Here we are. But probable as this seems, it is by no means a proven conclusion. Neither is the composition of the black smoke known, which the Martians used with such deadly effect, and the generator of the heat rays remains a puzzle. The terrible disasters at the Ealing and South Kensington laboratories have disinclined analysts for further investigations upon the latter. Oh dear, that doesn't sound great, does it? I think they set off the heat ray in the laboratories. Whoops. We'll lurk as well. I enjoy the reading. Yay! Happy lurking to you both. Well, happy lurking to everyone, really. Oh, that sounds a little odd, but heartfelt. Happy lurking. Here we are. Spectrum analysis of the black powder points that's a word that's an easy word. Why did I stumble over that? Spectrum analysis of the black powder points unmistakably to the presence of an unknown element with a brilliant group of 3 lines in the green, and it is possible that it combines with argon to form a compound which acts at once with deadly effect upon some constituent in the blood. But such unproven speculations will scarcely be of interest to the general reader to whom this story is addressed. None of the brown scum that drifted down the Thames after the destruction of Shepperton was examined at the time, and now none is forthcoming. It really is so interesting how this book was written, isn't it? Oh. The results of an anatomical examination of the Martians, so far as the prowling dogs had left such an examination possible, I have already given. But everyone is familiar with the magnificent and almost complete specimen in the spirits at the Natural History Museum, and the countless drawings that have been made from it. And beyond that, the interest of their physiology and structure is purely scientific. A question of graver and universal interest is the possibility of another attack from the Martians. I do not think that nearly enough attention is being given to this aspect of the matter. At present, the planet Mars is in conjunction, but with every return to opposition, I, for one, anticipate a renewal of their adventure. In any case, we should be prepared. It seems to me that it should be possible to define the position of the gun from which the shots I thought I turned the page, but I didn't, so flicking the eyes back didn't help. It seems to me that it should be possible to define the position of the gun from which the shots are discharged, to keep a sustained watch upon this part of the planet, and to anticipate the arrival of the next attack. In that case, the cylinder might be destroyed with dynamite or artillery before it was sufficiently cool for the Martians to emerge, or they might be butchered by means of guns so soon as the screw opened. It seems to me that they have lost a vast advantage in the failure of their first surprise. Possibly, they see it in the same light. Lessing has advanced excellent reasons for supposing that the Martians have actually succeeded in effecting a landing on the planet Venus. 7 months ago now, Venus and Mars were in alignment with the Sun. That is to say, Mars was in opposition from the point of view of an observer on Venus. Oh, Mickey, hello, hello, hello. You are so very welcome. We are just finishing up the War of the Worlds tonight. It will happen. I will make sure it happens. And that shouldn't be a problem given we only have to finish up the epilogue. And then, depending on how everyone's feeling, we may slip into a little chat. Not that I'm sure I have much to chat about directly on my mind, but we'll see what there is. Yes, I need to get better at just having random things to chat about. Oh dear, I suppose I haven't done too badly, I guess, given all the tangents I tend to wander off on, but nothing springs to mind at this point anyway. Okay, where am I up to? Here we go, an observer on Venus. Subsequently, a peculiar luminous and sinuous marking appeared on the unilluminated half of the inner planet, and almost simultaneously, a faint dark mark of a similar sinuous character was detected upon a photograph of the Martian disk. One needs to see the drawings of these appearances in order to appreciate fully their remarkable resemblance in character. Oh, Fabi, hello. Guys, what's up? Lovely to see you, Fabi. Lovely to see you. Very, very welcome here. How can I lose my place when there's so few words on the page? Oh dear. There we are. Remarkable resemblance in character. At any rate, whether we expect another invasion or not, our views of the human future must be greatly modified by these events. We have learnt now that we cannot regard this planet as being fenced in and a secure abiding place for man. We can never anticipate the unseen good or evil that may come upon us suddenly out of space. It may be that in the larger design of the universe, this invasion from Mars is not without its ultimate benefit for men. It has robbed us of that serene confidence in the future which is the most fruitful source of decadence. The gifts to human science it has brought are enormous, and it has done much to promote the conception of the commonweal of mankind. Yeah, keep thinking about that now. Keep thinking about that now, that the only way to actually bring the planet together would be an attack from without. Oh dear, no one would probably survive that if it happened, but it would bring the planet together. Probably. Oh dear. Sorry, Lou never means to sound quite so jaded. It just tends to happen sometimes. It may be that across the immensity of space, the Martians have watched the fate of these pioneers of theirs and learnt their lesson, and that on the planet Venus they have found a securer settlement. Be that as it may, for many years yet, there will certainly be no relaxation of the eager scrutiny of the Martian disk, and those fiery darts of the sky, the shooting stars, will bring with them as they fall an unavoidable apprehension to all the sons of men. The broadening of men's views that has resulted can scarcely be exaggerated. Before the cylinder fell, there was a general persuasion that through all the deep of space no life existed beyond the petty surface of our minute sphere. Yeah. Don't really know how that can really be believed. I suppose particularly these days, now we can reach further and further into space. It just seems, given space is, so really, 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 really big, it just seems highly unlikely we are the only ones here. So I suppose the, ghost versus aliens question some people pose, which do you think are more likely? It's got to be, whether or not we believe ghosts are possible, which may or may not be. I don't like discounting things. Just in case. But aliens, definitely. I don't think there's any question about that. There are aliens. Definitely aliens. I just don't think they have any interest in us whatsoever. Or, they're at roughly the same level we're at and therefore cannot reach further either. Or, they're still primordial soup. But they're out there. Yeah, it just seems... Oh, here's the word again. Inconceivable that there are no aliens. Here we go. Sorry, I found my place really quickly this time. Now, we see further. If the Martians can reach Venus, there is no reason to suppose that the thing is impossible for men. And when the slow cooling of the sun makes this Earth uninhabitable, as at last it must do, it may be that the thread of life that has begun here will have streamed out and caught our sister planet within its toils. Oh dear, I always thought it was more a concern of the sun getting ready to explode. And we have to move away from it. I don't think we want to move any nearer to it. Oh dear. Dim and wonderful is the vision I have conjured up in my mind of life spreading slowly from this little seedbed of the solar system throughout the inanimate vastness of sidereal space. But that is a remote dream. It may be, on the other hand, that the destruction of the Martians is only a reprieve. To them, and not to us perhaps, is the future ordained. I must confess the stress and danger of the time have left an abiding sense of doubt and insecurity in my mind. I sit in my study writing by lamplight, and suddenly I see again the healing valley below set with writhing flames, and feel the house behind and about me empty and desolate. Oh dear, poor protagonist definitely has PTSD. Imagine most of Britain does. I go out into Byfleet Road, and vehicles pass me. A butcher boy in a cart, a cab full of visitors, a workman on a bicycle, children going to school, and suddenly they become vague and unreal, and I hurry again with the artillerymen through the hot, brooding silence. Of a night, I see the black powder darkening the silent streets, and the contorted bodies shrouded in that layer. They rise upon me, tattered and dog-bitten. They gibber and grow fiercer, paler, uglier, mad distortions of humanity at last, and I wake cold and wretched in the darkness of the night. Definitely PTSD. I go to London and see the busy multitudes in Fleet Street and the Strand, and it comes across my mind that they are but the ghosts of the past, haunting the streets that I have seen silent and wretched, going to and fro, phantasms in a dead city, the mockery of life in a galvanized body. And strange, too, it is to stand on Primrose Hill, as I did but a day before writing this last chapter, to see the great province of houses, dim and blue through the haze of the smoke and mist, vanishing at last into the vague, lower sky. To see the people walking to and fro among the flower beds on the hill. To see the sightseers about the Martian machine that stands there still. To hear the tumult of playing children, and to recall the time when I saw it all bright and clear-cut, hard and silent, under the dawn of that last great day. And strangest of all is it to hold my wife's hand again, and to think that I've counted her and that she has counted me among the dead. And that is it. Goodness me, 20 minutes and we're done. Oh dear. Oh dear. Well, oh, reconnection successful. Beautiful. Well, hopefully that won't put you guys too far behind. Oh dear. Well, it says it's back anyway. But yes, do know the musical version much better. I was considering one time that it'd be fun to do a karaoke stream of the whole musical, but so much of it is just the music and not singing that would probably be a little bit difficult. Possibly when I eventually get to a karaoke stream, I'll grab the single from the musical and include that one. It's Forever Autumn. It's a lovely song. I think I once learned it on piano. Don't think I've still got the music for it though. Yeah, I lost a lot of my piano music in the various times moving. Oh dear, I've still got piles of it, just unsorted, but I don't think Forever Autumn's still there. I suppose I should have a proper look for it, but even if I did find it, it's, you know, given it's been so long since I've played properly and with sort of intent to learn a piece that it's sort of slipped out of my mind and fingers. You know, I still generally consider I can play piano, but I can't play piano, if you get what I mean. Oh dear, really should just sit down, maybe with a piece I used to be able to play. A reasonably easy one. Maybe even, you know, right back to preliminary grade stuff and just try to relearn pieces over and over again. Just play them that many times that they stick again. That'd be nice. Because nothing really did stick after I sort of didn't need it anymore for exams and competitions. It just sort of, well, I guess when I wasn't playing it all the time and moved on to newer, harder pieces, it just all sort of falls away. I guess that's sort of how my memory works with most things, really. You know, very good memory for short-term things. Very good at memorizing for exams, but afterwards it's just all gone. Did you learn Three Blind Mice? I didn't. There was a version of it that I desperately wanted to learn. There was a kid who always did the competitions the same time as me. He's a year older than me, so he wasn't normally in my division, but you know, he was ridiculously better than I was, so I was always sort of listening to the pieces he did, and he did such a cool version of Three Blind Mice. Oh dear, you know, it just kept sort of changing styles every time the song went through again. It was so much fun. There was another song that one of his siblings played, I think, that I eventually got the music for. I never learnt it properly, but I'm pretty sure I've still got the music and I can still hear it in my head, and it's such a cool piece. Oh dear, I want to find it now. Not that I'd be able to learn it. But one reasonably impressive piece I did was the boogie version of Flight of the Bumblebee, Bumble Boogie. I just want to see if I can find it, whether it's findable on YouTube. I imagine it is. It's just such a cool piece. Probably help if I remembered the composer. Just look at Bumble Boogie piano. Oh, Jack Fina, is that the one? Yeah, it looks like it's probably it. Yeah. I'm guessing that's it. Oh, you'd be able to hear it too. Oh, no. Just listen. You shouldn't be able to hear anything. Why ads? Why? Ads, why? Ads. I know I should just pay for YouTube Premium, but, you know, everything adds up. Oh, yep, that's the one. Jack Fina. Jack Fina Bumble Boogie. I recommend listening to it. It's awesome fun. And I could play that one. I could play that one actually quite well. And I can still sort of do some bits of it very shakily, but I'll have to look at the music to relearn it properly. But what was I worried about? I can tangent like anything. How do we get on this subject? Yes, we are now chatting. If there's anything you'd like to talk about, just let me know. Oh dear. Yes, I mostly just, I suppose I've only got so much room in my head for things at a time, because I normally just focused on, 4 or 5 pieces a year when I was learning piano, and they were the ones I needed for piano exams when I did them. Not even sure why I really did them. They made me so anxious. I mean, I suppose, I am me, and I like to, I suppose I thought I liked to achieve. I thought that was the good thing for me to do, and so doing well in piano exams seemed to be the way to do things. But so anxious, and I always passed, but devastated when I didn't pass well. Oh, do you remember the character I said you look like? I do remember you said that, but I forgot to look it up. Can you tell me what it was again? It was from a thing called UQ something. It was, I remember the UQ because that's an abbreviation for a university in Australia. Yes, what was the character again? I'll just look it up. Kyrie UQ holder. Let's have a look. Oh my goodness, I do look like her. That was unintentional. No, I've never heard of her. Oh my goodness. She's pretty cute, isn't she? Oh dear. UQ holder. What is that? An organization of immortals. Ooh, that sounds like fun. Ooh, may have to look into that one. Have you seen much of the anime? Is it good? Yes, I have not watched much anime for a while. Not from not wanting to, but issues with Crunchy and also issues with piracy. So that does make it a little difficult. Thankfully, I did throughout my earlier stages of loving anime, I did collect a fair number of DVDs of the earlier ones that I liked. Oh, it's a little fan servicey. Not a huge fan of fan service over here, but if the story's good and the action's good and the characters are good, I can endure a little fan service. I can just look the other way if I have to briefly. Yes, that's not Blue's thing. But yeah, again, if the story, the characters, and the action are all pretty good, I'd look into that. Is it pronounced Kyrie? Or Kyrie? That's probably more of a Japanese pronunciation. For some reason I was pronouncing it like the Latin. I'm a chorister, the Kyrie eleison in the Latin. What is that again? That's is that the Lord have mercy? Something like that. Yes, okay, so all the other stuff's good, so yes, can overlook a small amount of fan service. I know your character looked familiar. It does. That is definitely Guzan. That is a coincidence. I'd never heard of this character before. But yeah, the blonde hair, the plait, the glasses, even the fringe is a bit similar, isn't it? It's all there. Well, if anyone accuses me of copying, I can always just, post the process of the character design or something. So everyone will see that that's not what happened. Yes, I think people tend to forget sometimes that, there's an awful lot of minds in the world. And here's the word again. It's inconceivable that there is one inconceivable that there is absolutely one thought that has, never, ever, ever been thought before. What's the line? It's from a Something for Kate song. Ugh. I want to sing it, but it's probably too long. I get into trouble. But the line is, what is it? You're not the first to think that everything has been thought before. Is that song? The song's 3 Dimensions by Something for Kate. Something for Kate being an Australian band, which is a very good band. Yes, most of the music I listened to when younger, was when I was in the car driving with the Mother and Father Library, and most of their music is Australian. So I know a lot about Australian bands from, 90s and noughties. Or at least the ones that they liked and that I like because they like them. Yeah, I only had a few real rebellion sort of bands from the sort of music my family liked. The main one being Evanescence. I loved Evanescence so much. Definitely planning on doing a few of their songs when it comes to karaoke, which I will get to eventually, but I need to procure backing tracks first, which I need to ask for help with them, and I don't like bothering people with things. So it may take a little while. I know I could. As far as I know, a lot of VTubers use YouTube backings, but getting the timing right with YouTube, I just worry it would be a little more difficult than with backing tracks that I can sort of prepare in advance. Oh, do you remember the dream I told you about? It happened again today, but with a different emotion and scenario. I can't seem to get away from this person. Ugh. I'm sorry. They're, we can't really blame them if their essence is giving you grief in your dreams. I don't think there's anything they can do about it. But it's not fun. Can't be fun. I'm sorry. Your rest time is being interrupted by such things. Yes, the small one keeps mentioning scary dreams and nightmares, and just randomly says through the day she's scared about having these dreams again. And I offer to talk about them with her, and she tells me a little bit about them, as much as a 4-year-old can. And yes, the most recent one involved a shark. I'm like, she's already having shark dreams. That's a bit too much. Oh dear. No. If I would have had them plenty of times, but imagine shark dreams would be among the ones that would make me panic the most. Blue does not do sharks. No. No sharks. No sharks. One of my siblings has done the great white shark cages in South Africa. And I'm like, nope, no amount of money would get me in those shark cages. Nope. Or maybe some amount of money, but it would have to be an awful lot of money. Sorry. And then again, I'd probably back out at the last moment and give the money back. Yeah. Sharks. Well, probably doesn't help that they're fish, and I just don't like fish in general, but they are scary fish. But shark VTubers is super friendly, though. Yes, there are some lovely, lovely shark VTubers. They do not terrify me. They do not terrify me. Or at least, the ones I have seen do not. Ah, dear. It's, I suppose it all comes down to intent. And I suppose the intent of a great white shark who finds you in their territory is to try to make sure you leave their territory. As opposed to a shark VTuber who, if you wind up in their territory, are intent to entertain you. So, slightly different viewpoint of the world between a shark and a shark VTuber. Oh dear. I feel a little silly sitting here with the War of the Worlds in the corner now that we've finished it. Should we jump over to the chat screen? Where did I leave my chat screen? It's all the way down here. There it is. And I'm hoping I appear in a roughly serviceable position. Let's go. Yeah, here we are. Probably not gonna, chat for 2 hours, but it depends on how chatty we get. Oh yes, I'm fine, except we still have it as saying game time, so let's just change that to, yeah, well, we're chatting now, so chatting time. Oh, much better. Much better. Lovely chat time, post-War of the Worlds. So again, if anyone has any random thoughts they would like to chat about and send Blue off on more weird tangents, just shout them out. And Blue will just have to sit for a moment and see where her thoughts go now that she has finished rambling slightly about dream sharks. Dream sharks. Dream whales do me in too. Because, you know, they're so big. And in dreams they can be even bigger. Or at least seem even bigger. Oh dear. Oh, I hope all of this doesn't mean I'm going to have ocean-themed dreams tonight. I will take dystopian dreams over ocean dreams. Oh dear. And I know I have been dreaming an awful lot more recently. I just not remembering the details. As far as I know, they're all sort of along the, you know, same lines, which are generally, you know, young adult dystopian style dreams. Yeah. It's probably good that I don't remember too much about them now, or I'll get, you know, bogged down with more and more story ideas, which is not a good plan. I already have way too much to work with and already panicking that I'm never going to get any of them done. Are you the type who overthinks things frequently? Oh, yes. Constantly, I do. Oh, yes. We're on the same team in that sense. Same agonizing, overthinking team. Every single little detail, over and over and over again, possibly years after it matters anymore as well. Oh well, it does get in the way of getting things done sometimes, doesn't it? And there's already an awful lot that just gets in the way of getting things done. Oh dear, where I live right now is just a disaster zone. You know, I'd gotten the main areas serviceable a few days ago, but they are already a disaster again. In general, my room and the room I keep my computer are probably the worst. And it's just day-to-day life that just, well, probably not just that. There's probably a few interesting things going on in my head as well that are getting in the way there. But it's just so hard. It feels silly to say it sometimes because things just, you know, they feel like they should be simple, but for some reason I just can't do them. It's a little ridiculous. Well, I already start worrying about things that haven't even happened yet or will only happen in a ridiculously specific situation. Yep, I am feeling you there, friend, I am. It's a lot. And maybe, you know, maybe you're also just an incredibly creative person that your mind needs to do some other creative things, needs some more creative outlets, and now it's just sort of thinking about all of these unlikely things and building all of these scenarios about what could happen. If there's a way to redirect that to something more fictional, maybe that would help, but I don't know, but then we're stressing about the fictional thing and how to get it done in between the rest of life. Oh dear. But I probably wouldn't think this way if these worries didn't come true sometimes. Oh dear. Yeah, it's some things more likely to happen than others, but it's, yeah, when they do happen, just gets you thinking that, you know, maybe thinking about them isn't such a bad thing after all, because then you can prepare for them a little at least, maybe. But, you know, just all this thinking that we do, you know, I think it does take an awful lot of time from, you know, trying not to sound too cliched, but taking time away from living and actually trying to do stuff, which I already have some problems with in general. But I've been feeling it more and more. I'm just getting itchy. I want to do more and get things done. And it's not even that I want to sort of go out and see more and do more as such, that there's specific things I want to do because, well, for one thing, I'm a terrible traveler. I don't enjoy traveling. I get anxious. And when I get to my destinations, most of the time it just sort of feels like, okay, I'm here. I don't know why I'm here. I can look at a beautiful, what's the term? A beautiful mountain vista. Is that the word? Scenery on a lookout. I can appreciate objectively that it's gorgeous, but subjectively I'm just sort of feeling nothing. And it's like, all this anxiety and all this money and everything to get here, and I'm still not feeling anything. So it just makes me wonder sometimes if it's worth it for me in particular. But then, I think the small one may be different from me, and she might want to go on things like this, so even though it doesn't come to my mind to plan things like this, I should try to plan them for her sake and things like that. But yes, itchy to just sort of get out. Maybe just out of society in general. It's just getting to the point I almost hate my phone. It's too much. Oh dear. And particularly strange, I imagine, coming from someone who has only recently started streaming and sort of getting more and more into needing phone and other things along those lines. But oh dear. It'd be nice to sort of do the streaming, do the writing, and then disconnect completely until I want to do it again. Yes, but unfortunately, tree houses in the middle of nowhere do not have very strong Wi-Fi signals. Oh dear. And also ironic being I can't handle isolation very well, at least from conveniences, because difficulty cooking these days. Though I can kind of cook. I was able to look after myself perfectly well for a long time, actually cooking most of my meals. But particularly harder these days. And I don't think the small one minds. She just prefers whole foods anyway. She's so much healthier than I am. She just ate so many cherry tomatoes today, I just couldn't keep track. Our cherry tomato levels are fairly low now. Oh dear. That was a bit of a roundabout tangent, wasn't it? Oh dear. Where will our minds go next? Just still got the War of the Worlds open, but it's at the after the end of the story. It says end of the Project Gutenberg ebook, The War of the Worlds. I should probably close this. Closed. Have you done anything exciting today? I'd say that's probably not. Probably not. Well, besides trying to plan a little bit for Saturday's stream, how it's going to work, which, wasn't exactly exciting, but, started getting more into it. How many but-you-knows have I said so far today? An awful lot, I think. Yes, because the small one was ill, I let her watch a fair amount of TV, because unfortunately she does love television. We went outside briefly. The small one's hand-eye coordination is actually pretty dang good. You know that, well, I imagine they have it in places other than Australia, like the Velcro catch game, when you have, like the Velcro discs and you throw the tennis ball back and forth and it sticks. She's had it for a while, but she hasn't really played with it much, but we played with it today and she was pretty good. Or have you considered making clips or shorts from your streams? The thoughts have definitely run through my mind, and when I was originally planning starting streaming, long before I started, I had a whole lot of ideas down about that. But the sad reality at this point is that I do not know how to make videos. I only know how to stream, which is something I will have to remedy at some point. But at the moment, I am a little bogged under. Bogged under? Bogged down? Bogged down, I think, is the more correct phrase there. But yes, yes, I would like, I suppose in particular, to make, a video of clips from the more writing related streams, just so there's the shorter versions that people can watch if they are short on time. And I suppose in particular, once I start doing more world building related streams, which would be, more sort of taking you all through the world building of the novel or novels that I'm currently releasing. Sort of shorter versions of that. So clips from the stream, I'm guessing, would probably be very useful to me, and maybe useful to people who are interested as well. But yes, that's not happening yet. I will try to find some good YouTube videos that I can use to educate myself. But yes, that may be a little time off yet. It's I am looking forward to doing, taking you all through my story worlds more, because that's sort of more what I was really interested in doing, streaming. I enjoy playing the games and things like that, but I still see myself more as a writer than a streamer. And the main reason I'm getting into streaming is because I wanted to try to use it to help with my writing, sort of combining the two to try to help with writing. But at the moment I've barely done any writing in the last 2 months, and I've been focusing an awful lot more on streaming, which I think is okay in the beginning at least. But I think what my streaming timetable will look like in the future will be very different. I mean, possibly even... Oh. I always hype myself up for when I go to sleep. For example, I say tomorrow I'm going to be a more sociable and fun person. The moment I step into work, it all goes away. Work can do that. Work is... unless you're one of the lucky people who find a job you love, or at least a job that's, a really, really decent workplace with good people. It's just, work can be so soul-stripping. Hello, Neko Heiko. Is this a reading stream? It was. We finished reading the book in the first 20 minutes or so. Hello. So yes, it has morphed from a reading stream into a random chatting stream. So it's just whatever comes to mind at this point. See how far our tangents can reach. Oh, one of the lucky ones to actually enjoy work. Oh, you are? You are a lucky one who enjoys work? Oh, wonderful. I'm glad you are. It's, yes, when I was in my full-time job, it's quite a while ago now, but, the workplace wasn't abysmal. A lot of the people were lovely, so that sort of helped a bit. And, in general, the work wasn't abysmal, but it was, a lot of it was difficult to deal with on various levels. And when it wasn't difficult to deal with, it was incredibly dull. So that sometimes made it difficult. Oh dear. Yes. Oh, I think, those who've seen the typing streams know, yes, my old full-time job was very much typing related. Hence how I got reasonably quick at the typing. I wonder if I should schedule another typing stream soon. It's I got slightly put off during the typing stream when a lovely random person who popped in, I think they were hoping for keyboard ASMR, but they just got their ears blasted because I was just going all out trying to type really, really fast. So yes, I was not exactly what they were expecting. Oh dear. But yes, I'm not a quiet aesthetic typer. I am noisy, all out, as fast and as accurate as possible. Oh dear. Wow, keyboard ASMR. No, my keyboard is anything but ASMR. My keyboard is blasting. It is loud stuff. If you wanna yes, I think I've only done the 2 typing streams so far. I've got a playlist if you wanted to see how that went. It was giving me such Piglet vibes. Piglet from Winnie the Pooh. I figured that's what you meant. The small one watched 3 Winnie the Pooh movies today. So, yes, I knew immediately you meant Piglet from Winnie the Pooh. Oh, how does he do it? Oh, dear. Poor sweet Piglet. Piglet was always my favourite when I was little. Possibly because he was small and sweet and pink. Oh, don't know who my favourite would be now. I mean, pretty much watching any Winnie the Pooh now just makes me cry because it's just full on childhood nostalgia. So I don't really watch them with the small one because I would just wind up crying the whole time. Even in the newer movies that I haven't seen, it's just you know, the characters and the personalities, they don't change. So even what's his name who does Pooh Bear? Jim Cummings? I think he's done it since the original Pooh Bear movie, so Pooh was my first favourite, but after being burned by school, Eeyore became my new favourite. Oh, sweet, sweet Eeyore. Eeyore is the father library's favourite. He used to keep a small toy Eeyore on his desk at work. Is there anything you would never want anymore you see in real life to never find out? Ugh. I would die if someone heard me singing favourite songs in the car. Oh no, singing related stuff for me is generally fine because, you know, I like singing a lot, and I'm not the best, but I've got a reasonably decent voice. I tend to sing along aloud at supermarkets when a song I like comes on. I hope I'm not too annoying, but I try to mix it up sometimes and I harmonise instead of singing the melody. Except these days I tend to mask still when I can, given the small ones isn't old enough to be vaccinated yet. So I mask whenever I can. So now at the moment I'm in the supermarket and I'm singing, but it's behind my mask, so does anyone actually know it's Blue who's singing? It's a mystery. Oh dear. Oh dear. But is there anything that I don't want people to see me doing in real life? So just trying to think of what really embarrasses me. And I'm thinking I must be a reasonably shameless person. At least when it comes to, doing things, singing, or I probably, or maybe it's just because, how many you-knows, so many you-knows. Well, I just sort of have difficulties, talking with people in a group anyway. And that's sort of more what embarrasses me than any sort of almost performing-like thing. I like performing, and I don't really feel anxious about people seeing me doing those things. I feel more anxious about just sort of everyday things. So it makes it sort of hard to think of something I just really do not want people to see me doing in real life. Interesting. I suppose as well, I stim. I tend to stim a lot, and I've just gotten sort of used to. I do that in public. I don't care anymore if people see me do this. It's I think they've gotten a little bit stronger over the years, but I think it's particularly the one I do when I'm waiting in a queue. I just sort of do an awful lot of swaying that sort of gets bigger and more pronounced as we go, and I just, I realize now and then people can see you, and it's like, that's okay. Oh, Miko Heiko. Oh yeah, I've been inspired by your writing. Got back into it. Wonderful. Even purchased Pro Writing Aid because my English kind of sucks. I hope Pro Writing Aid is really good for you. Pro Writing Aid is really good for you. It's I usually find it quite useful, particularly because, again, I have difficulty approaching people to read my work, and so Pro Writing Aid is definitely better than nothing. Oh, Ancio. What if I don't know? What if you don't know? I am unsure what this relates to. Something I would have said not too long ago, but it has completely gone from my mind. Put me on topic. Point me in the right direction. What if I don't know? Oh dear. Oh, you keep saying you know. Yes. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Of course that's what you're talking about. Yes. I think normally my you-knows aren't quite so bad, but yes. It's happening tonight, isn't it? But you don't know. You don't know. I know. You know. What is it? I know, you know, I know. Or something along those lines. Oh, dearie me. Oh, dearie me. Oh dear. And is this a mind blank? Is this a mind blank? I will take the quick opportunity to have a drink and then I will find another tangent. You said you wanted to conquer the Indian subcontinent again for the British crown and then... I said nothing of the sort. It was chat. It was chat. Blue, for one, is not British, so that would not work anyway. But I said nothing of the sort. I said, no! No conquering. There will be no conquering. Conquering bad. Conquering never ever leads to anything good. So, let's not do that. So you are British, you lied. No! I am so not British. Well, I think I am, what is it? 7th generation white Australian. So way back I'm Irish, but not, there's probably a bit of British in there, but it's mostly Irish. I think there's a tiny bit of Spanish in there too. Maybe a splash of Scottish. Mostly, Anglo-ish. Well. No conquering. Please. No conquering. They do say chat reflects the streamer. Oh. No, it's the chat. It's the chat who talks about conquering and exploding people. Do you really think it's Blue who brings all this up? All these, unpleasant notions? Does Blue seem even the slightest bit unpleasant to you? I probably don't want to hear your answers to that, do I? How about punching some roos? No. They would kick Blue's butt. They are large and ferocious. But you write about explosions and conquests. Yes, but the explosions... The explosions... Oh, there we go. Reconnection successful. Hopefully it's back. Sorry for the interruption in your Blue stream. You are the first British streamer I've watched that likes to blow up and conquer people. No! No. It's not true. Blue has been framed by chat. Are you happy, chat? You have framed me. You can't escape from the allegations. Blue might cry now. Blue is crying. Many tears. See, Blue is now crying. You should think about what role you played in making Blue cry. Is this really what you want to do to streamers? Make them cry. And she's not crying anymore. Blue is fine. Oh dear. I can't act that the tears and the excited eyes. Whee! They're pretty much the only ones I remember. The little circles in VTube Studio that I've assigned them to. The rest of them are a bit of a lucky dip. I can't remember where everything is. It's probably why I don't use them a huge amount. I should get a little bit better at using them. Because it can be pretty funny. Oh dear. Well, yes. Conquest. How often do conquests happen in my stories? Well, in the main magical project, it's the alien invasion, so that definitely counts as a conquest. In my high fantasy, it's sort of conquest by aristocracy intrigue sort of thing, so that turns into bigger stuff, but technically conquest attempts going on there, yes, from within as opposed to from without, I guess. My shapeshifter taxidermy story, there is war going on. I think I think the people we're with, like a few hundred years ago, they split off from the conquering people, the ones who invaded that country, split off because they realized you're really not cool, and fighting back against them. But again, the story's not really about that. That's all sort of context. Do you care about Shakespeare at all? Because a lot of my high school English teachers did. I think I can appreciate the impact that Shakespeare has had on literature. And, Blue being Blue, I enjoyed memorizing large chunks of it because, I enjoy doing things like that. But in general, not really something I'd pick to read for pleasure. I think the only one I've read all of is Hamlet, because that's the one Blue studied in school. Oh dear. I mean, who are your favorite authors growing up? Well, I would be remiss if I didn't mention again my, long-standing Babysitters Club hyperfixation. So that would be, what's her name, Anne M. Martin? I was really obsessed with those books for, how long? Possibly even up to 4 years. But the books that actually really turned me onto fantasy were this really cute little series of, they were called the Jewel Princess books, and they were just really sweet little adventures of this family of jewel princesses. And I believe the authors were a husband and wife team who called themselves Yana and Malcolm, for Yana and Malcolm. And I really like them. And they actually, in the last few years, they released revamped versions of the first 4, and I got so excited, and I got them as soon as I could. But it's still just the first 4 so far, and I think there were 12 books in the series plus a super special, because I think most series in the 90s had super specials. But they're the ones that really actually got me started with fantasy. They were my technically they would have been my first fanfic. I would have been doing that without even realizing what a fanfic was, because I was trying to write a movie for it, which was, I guess it's pretty much a fanfic. Though no self-inserts or anything. I was just trying to write an actual movie for the books. I'd be really surprised if my favourite author was H.P. Lovecraft. I haven't actually read any Lovecraft. I keep meaning to. remember there were 3 Lovecraftian books sitting on our family shelves for the longest time, and I kept thinking I should probably pick one of those up, but I never actually got around to it. The next book, Hyperfixation, after the Babysitter's Club books, were the Potter books. And yes, I don't read them now. I hadn't read them for many years before we found out everything about the author. But, you know, it's hard to completely sort of remove them from my life because they were a big part of my growing up. You know, they were an enormous part of my growing up, so it's hard to completely shift them from that. But, yes, I read the first 4 books so many times my copies were just falling apart. And, you know, I can't bring myself to get rid of them because, in particular, the 4th book, it was my favorite, and I read it that many times. And I remember my grandparents, you know, mending it for me with tape, and they're both dead now. And yes, I can't bring myself to get rid of them. So they stay very high on my shelf. Beside Game of Thrones, which, again, I've read book 1 and a little bit of book 2. As for other books I read a huge amount of, there actually wasn't a huge amount because I got really, really hyper-fixated on the Potter books. And there was the occasional other fantasy book I read getting it out of the library. Wait, Blue sounds extra alive today. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't actually chat very much with anyone in real life, so it's getting everything out. Maybe sounds slightly more animated. But I really should start making lists of random topics to chat about, because, chatting streams are nice. It shouldn't just be when we have something important to say, sort of thing. I liked a fair amount of Isabel Carmody. She's an Australian fantasy writer. But I remember getting really cross with her at one point because I'd read the first 4 books of her Obenutwin series, and, they were incredible. I adored them. And then it just seemed to finish there. It seemed like that was the end of the series, and it ended with nothing sort of solved. And I got so cranky, and I eventually found out, years and years and years later, that she'd eventually finished it. It just, I think it took almost 20 years to write the whole thing, which is understandable. Really, I understand that completely, but I didn't then. The books. I really liked the Doorways trilogy by Michael Pryor, another Australian author. But the Doorways trilogy were his very first books. I don't think they're even in print anymore, and he's gone on to get more successful with more steampunk style things, which I haven't read yet. I keep meaning to get them out of the library, but haven't managed it yet. But one of my siblings and I actually met him once. He was at a convention, because we'd managed to track down, secondhand copies of the Doorways trilogy that we, wanted him to sign. And, we were waiting around the author's booth and we couldn't see anyone. And a lovely gentleman in a top hat comes up to us and just asks, what are we doing? Can I help? I said, we're actually looking for Michael Pryor. He said, oh, I'm Michael Pryor. So I had a nice chat with him. He was an incredibly lovely gentleman and was pleased and surprised when we had his old books to be signed. I know I read a bunch of other speculative fiction style books when I was younger, but I just can't think of them right now because they're all very overshadowed by the Potter books at the time, with the exception being The Lord of the Rings. I did read The Lord of the Rings quite a lot then. Yeah. I haven't read it for years upon years, though. Ah, dear. Oh, yeah, any thoughts about Isekai genre and its explosion? I'm, not a fan in general of Isekai, but if I could find one, that ticks a lot of boxes, the main one being well written, if it's very well written isekai, I will definitely give it a chance. I don't like discounting something just, oh, you're isekai, I won't read you. That's not how I like to do things, but, you know, well written, both in terms of story and, you know, language. Yes, Blue is probably a little bit of a snob when it comes to that. I'm more forgiving of, you know, indie works in those matters, but if something's not, you know, well written, I can't read it. Well, I like fantasy too, as long as they aren't so convoluting. Like, this isn't related to reading, but I also like slice of life. Slice of life can be so pleasant. I love a good slice of life. I mostly read them on webtoons, honestly. Although, you know, I like the idea of, you know, finding more fantasy slice of lives. That there should be some out there, given cozy fantasies were a big thing last year, weren't they? I didn't find any, because I don't stay on top of anything, so I don't know what's actually popular at the time. I just know this because I watched a few booktubers end of year videos about the last year's trends. Trends is not a word I like, but it applies. But yes, cozy fantasy slice of life. I would love to see more of this. And when will you be an isekai author? Probably never. Unless, I mean, I'd only ever do an isekai if I had an absolutely brilliant idea for it. I just don't like the idea of, you know, just using isekai to set up something else and then, you know, that's it. You know, we just want this character to be sort of modern day and use modern terms, but we just put them in this situation because isekai, and then, you know, nothing sort of relates back to where they came from again. I suppose you could almost look at, you know, it's not the Die and Reborn, but even just visiting other worlds vaguely along the same lines. Do you have any thoughts about death of the author, and if the work should be judged on its own separately of the author when it's released? Do you mean when an author is revealed as a less than decent individual? You mean that, and, you know, the ability, you mean to separate the art from the artist sort of thing? It's difficult to judge a work completely separately from its creator, I think. I mean, when it sort of reaches a point where if it just doesn't belong to the author anymore, in the sense that it's been completely captured by the imagination of the world sort of thing, and it's sort of everybody's as opposed to the author's, but even then it still came from that person, and you have to sort of have these niggling little concerns. And if you picked through it, you would just find, I think in most cases you would just find all these little hints of what this person actually is. And, you know, even if it's a beautiful piece of work, even if it, you know, it meant a lot to you, even if it affected you a lot and influenced you a lot, that's all well and good, but you still have to recognize the issues there. And that, you know, I think that what it comes down to for me is that there are so many sort of fantastic stories and art out there that we just don't know about by absolutely wonderful people, and we should be paying attention to that, and not, you know, however beautiful it is, not stuff done by horrible people. I mean, you know, sure, you might say it's revolutionary, it revolutionizes literature, it revolutionizes art. Do we really want it to, if it's such a horrible person doing it? Is that the direction we really want art to go? Oh dear. Getting a little heavy there, sorry. Oh dear. I'm not sure if it's possible to completely separate art and artist. I'm not sure it's doable. I mean, you know, there are points where you can sort of understand why someone might still really cling to this work they loved that influenced them so much and that meant so much to them and is such a huge part of their lives. But, you know, I think that person still needs to realize, you know, that you can feel all of this and that's valid, but you can also accept that the creator is a piece of work and that they do not deserve your support. And that makes things really difficult, I guess. Oh, there are fantasy slice of life anime, but the ones I've seen so far don't have anything exceptional about them. That's a little disappointing. Yeah, it's oh, I've forgotten what it's called. I'll have to try to look it up now. There's at least one sort of fantasy slice of life novel that I think came out recently that I'm really interested in getting hold of. It's about a wealthy woman who's recently been widowed and a talking sword that she inherits. And it seems a lot of it is just sort of banter between her and the talking sword and their wonderful relationship. So I need to look it up and find what it is because I'm very, very interested in reading that one. Oh, Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash is one of the well-written ones. A good read. Okay, Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash. Where's my pen? Let's write this down. Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash. Okay, I shall look that up. Thank you. I've seen Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash. Too bad it never got a second season. Ag. It's always a disappointment where the good things aren't continued. Netflix seems to have a bit of a habit of that, don't they? They don't tend to continue many of their fantasy series more than 1 or 2 seasons. It is yes. If any of my books ever got particularly successful, I don't think I would be comfortable with Netflix adapting any of them if they're just gonna, you know, end it after a season. Not worth it. Well, H.P. Lovecraft is a raging racist, and that influenced me into not reading his works. But growing up, I kind of learned how to separate the art from the author, and I've realized that all humans have fault. All humans do have fault, that is right. But yes, I still don't know if I want to read the work of a raging racist, even if it is beautiful work. I'd prefer to give my time to an author who is not a raging racist, who also produces beautiful work. Oh dear. Why do people... This is not a general thing, but just directed at the ones who are awful, but why do people have to be awful? Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. What is that? Lit RPG is another genre that I have definitely not gotten into. Yeah, I getcha. Thanks. It's nice to be able to sort of talk about these things and appreciate the shades of grey. It's too often it just seems I know people want things to be black and white because that just makes things easier. But I think it's a very rare case where things are 100% black and white. Imagine there probably are those cases, but I think they are reasonably rare. Oh, the way I see it is that the art had the misfortune of being brought to life by a terrible person. At least for me, I can still appreciate it. I think that's a good way to look at things. It is. But we still have to sort of consider then, you know, how we go about consuming this art. I think in that circumstance, I would, you know, resort to piracy to enjoy it. So no longer giving any support to the horrible creator, but still being able to read or appreciate the work. I guess that's how I feel sort of about Ruby. The what do we call them now? Web series Ruby by Rooster Teeth. It's oh yes, as long as I don't support them, it's fine. Yes, I think you're right there. It's you know, I watched the first few seasons of Ruby pretty much as they were coming out. It's one of the few things I was actually on top of, because at the time, I am a little ashamed to admit I was a fan of Red vs. Blue, which has not aged well, in the least. But, yes, Ruby. I loved Ruby so much. And my main magical project probably wouldn't exist in the form that it does now if I hadn't been inspired by Ruby. I stopped watching, I forget why, because it was long before a lot of the really bad stuff about the company came to light. I think it was just life, and I fell behind and I kept meaning to catch up. But then all the horrific stuff started coming out about the company, and I just, I still want to know what happens in the story, but I do not want to support the company at all, so I'll just have to eventually find a way to consume Ruby, and I'll give myself one opportunity, and I can watch from the beginning to the end one time maybe, and call it quits on Ruby. Well, with any luck, my main magical project will one day inspire people in the same way that things like Ruby have, and I hope Blue doesn't become a terrible person. I hope Blue isn't a terrible person, although it's hard to view that entirely objectively, isn't it? From my position anyway. I hope if I, start showing signs that I'm a terrible person, people will let me know so I can work on it. Though I won't lie, I have been disillusioned when I found out things about the creator. Makes me look further into their work. I think that's a good way to do it as well. Once you find out if the creator is a no-no, you can slam the door on that and just not proceed any further. Find another form of literature to enjoy. There is so much out there on offer, and dear. You should be counting the oh dears as well. I think there have been even more than usual. I think I have scaled back slightly on the you-knows. So when is Blue's villain arc? Oh dear. I thought people already decided I was getting cancelled on July 2nd this year. Oh dear. And so far as villain arc goes, I thought it was generally accepted that I did actually steal someone's skin. I have not admitted to stealing anyone's skin, nor did I at all put that idea into your heads. Blue didn't steal anyone's skin. I procured it through means, which I shall not go into here at this point because my law is not important. I feel like Slarty Bartfast, like, my name is not important. My law is not important. Oh, so hope you aren't or won't become a terrible person. Me too. Me too. But if I show signs, feel free to, whack me in the head or something. Oh, Blue does like explosions and conquering, so the jury is still out on that one. No, it wasn't Blue. It was never Blue. You steal someone's skin as in their flesh. Yes, well, some of chat seems to think along those lines. Blue has, confirmed and or admitted nothing. As far as Blue is aware, this skin was not stolen. It was procured with by means that were not nefarious in the least. But Blue is a magical library, and magical libraries find it hard to walk around. So she did indeed need a skin if she was going to start interacting with the world as a whole beyond her books. So yeah. I didn't steal the skin. I didn't. I'm wearing it. That doesn't mean it belonged to anyone before Blue. Maybe it was made for Blue. Maybe it's magical. Maybe Blue closed her eyes and wished on a star and was granted a bloody skin to inhabit. Wait, you aren't a magical girl? Well, my magical library, who was also a girl, so debatably, yes, that blue is a magical girl. So you're telling me you peeled off someone's skin and are wearing it? I didn't do it. Wait, no. I didn't do it, and I did not ask anyone else to do it. It just so happens that I am wearing a skin. That was clearly not Blue's initially, because Blue is a library. She's a Dark Lord. Hello, Lance Corporal Rookie. A Dark Lord. I am... Oh dear, it does seem to be the sort of quieter VTubers who tend to take on these roles, isn't it? Isn't it Altair, the Demon Lord, now? I really have to change my stance for separating art from artist now. You don't need to change anything. You can think about things in lots and lots of different ways and come to your own conclusions. It's difficult. I mean, we like to say there's no right or wrong way to think about anything, but, you know, when it comes down to it, some artists are absolute pieces of work, and we don't want to support them if we can help it. So I suppose it's technically a good thing that, you know, it's coming to light so often now when artists are awful people, because that way we can know and we can look for artists who aren't awful people. Goodness me, it does seem to be happening an awful lot though, doesn't it? It's makes you wonder if you have to be a sort of person in particular to be successful. And that sounds particularly jaded, because I know there are bound to be a ridiculous number of very successful people who are absolute precious human beings. So yes, I don't like to generalize about those sorts of things. I don't know if I could support a streamer who steals people's flesh. I understand your position completely, so it's a good thing Blue does not fall under that category, isn't it? Blue will flesh out her lore at a later date. She has enough stories that she's working on at the moment, so her lore is waiting, and when it comes out, you will feel regret, I'm sure, for ever accusing Blue of anything nefarious. I'm gonna write a fanfic about Blue and you can't legally stop me. No, I can't. I can't legally stop you from doing anything along those lines. In fact, I think I'd rather like to read any fanfic you write about Blue. Particularly given it seems there's probably gonna be, you know, conquering and blowing people up and stealing skins in it. It sounds like fun. You know, in fiction. Fiction is fun. Real life, no. Fiction only. We can destroy everything so long as it's in fiction. I think I've been rambling on tangents for over an hour now. That's reasonably impressive. It's also a little sad to think that if I was actually sitting in a room with all of you, I would be hiding, honestly. Or at least, you know, I'd be sitting in a circle. I probably would have backed my chair up a little bit. I'd have my hat on, my usual hat with my Ace and Aero dragons pinned on it. I'd have that on, pulled down, have my glasses on, my mask on, so you can't see much of my face. It'd be tucked under my shoulders. And, you know, just sort of listening to people talking around me. And if there was anyone sort of talking to us, giving some sort of information or anything, I had a question. When I have to ask the question, it's like the one time I'll show any confidence. And then I'll just sort of melt away at the end again. Yeah. Much better when I'm just, you know, performing. You know, I say that now, I probably, you know, knees would probably shake if I actually stepped on a stage now, but this is fine. Almost all streamers I know are completely introverted. I think that tends to be quite a frequent thing among streamers. It's just a way to safely let go, I guess. Because I guess the only sort of feedback we get as well, not the only feedback, but we have feedback through chat as opposed to, you know, people's, you know, whispers or body language and eye contact and just trying to interpret everything that's going on and coming to all these sort of weird conclusions and so many different conclusions, and trying to sort of mesh all of them together to try to figure out just what is going on. Yes, I prefer chat. Chat is pleasant. Well, chat accuses me of conquering, you know, the sub-Indian continent and blowing people up. But besides that, chat is very pleasant. Oh dear. Just having a drink, sorry. I have been talking for a long time. Probably gonna have to change the title of this one slightly, just to add, you know, the War of the Worlds plus chat. Just so people, you know what to expect. I like it when people know what to expect. Some surprises are good, but in general, you know, I think that's why I make playlists of just about everything I do now, because I just like things in order. In order. Everyone knows where everything is. All tidy. Everything is shelved and filed correctly. And, you know, if I can't do it in real life, I might as well make sure my, you know, YouTube page is tidy. Oh dear. Sorry, just thinking of the washing up. I don't think there's actually too much to do, so I'll leave it for tomorrow. Oh, I wish dinosaurs were real so I can have a pet baby. Carnotaurus. Carnotaurus. I don't know that one. I need to look it up right now. Carnotaurus. Carnotaurus. Dinosaur. Show me. Oh my goodness me, you're a cutie! A lightly built bipedal predator measuring 7.5 to 8 meters. It's still pretty cute. Very, very little arms. Carnotaurus. What was your era? Late Cretaceous. Late Cretaceous. Such a cutie. That's a great choice. I generally, I'm still a huge fan of the Triceratops. I've always been a trike fan. So I will stick with my trikes. Although I've been feeling Ankylosauruses more. They're just so solid and sturdy. It's like a tank. And I love it. And oh, do you play D&D? I had one failed attempt when a very dear friend of mine and I attempted to play, but neither of us had really played before, and he was trying to dungeon master and play at the same time, and I was getting confused, and there was a lot going on, and we didn't get much further than creating our characters. But I adore the idea of D&D, and it sounds like something I should probably get into at one point, or at least, you know, watch more people play. It's but again, D&D seems very much like a bit of a life commitment, and I'm not sure I have the time that it deserves really at this point. It's like reading Wheel of Time. I've never read Wheel of Time because, you know, I have to go grocery shopping. I have to look after my small one. I have to do other things. And reading Wheel of Time just seems like a full-on life choice. It seems pretty intense. And I think D&D sort of falls under the same category. There's we had talked about a little while ago trying to play some games on stream. Just, you know, Blue play with chat, and I'd love it if I could try to find a way to play some games like that. And I have a game called Once Upon a Time, which is a story creation game. But I've looked at it recently, and in the rules that exist, I don't see a way to really play it with chat. But I suppose we could always use the game as a base and sort of make up our own rules and try to make up a Once Upon a Time that Blue and chat can play. That would be fun. But I think it would take a while to figure out those rules. Oh dear. Oh dear. Maybe one time we can try to do a stream to create a version that can be played with, you know, one person and chat. With chat possibly, you know, polling for moves or something. Oh dear. There might be some other games out there, or maybe we just need to make some up. I don't know. Yes, I think we'd looked. There is a War of the Worlds board game that we looked at briefly, and I did look it up because we were hoping that could be one that Blue could play with chat, but it doesn't really look like it's really possible, sadly. I would recommend Baldur's Gate. I've heard nothing but good things about Baldur's Gate. I am particularly impressed with, a lot of the voice acting in Baldur's Gate 3. And, general character stuff. Oh dear. I will consider it. Oh dear. I don't know if it was right then Blue was having a twitch if I was looking at a belated thing, but bit of twitching from Blue this stream. Sorry about that. Yes. I don't think it's actually me twitching, it's just me hitting odd angles that are upsetting my model a bit, I guess. But yes, it'd be good to look at Baldur's Gate. I did really enjoy the stream of Spiritfarer the other day, and I'd like to keep going with that. I mean, like I said earlier, my stream schedule's probably going to look very, very different once I actually finally start releasing stories, because I think I will sort of, morph a little bit from a mostly streamer to a writer releasing videos who occasionally streams, which, probably suits me better on the whole. But I think it was a good idea to sort of jump in and just get used to streaming and get started and start meeting all of you lovelies. And I am still reasonably new at all of this, so everything can change and evolve. Hopefully for the better. But I think I was thinking vaguely that eventually, once I'm able to sort of get deeper and deeper into writing and I'm able to sort of release more frequently, I think I'd like to keep it to just even 1 or 2 streams a month, or at least planned ones, and then just, very, very random gaming streams when I'm feeling it or something. I don't know. We shall see how things go, but I do have to finish something first, or at least with my main magical project. It's divided into parts. Well, each book is divided into parts. I think there's 8, possibly 9, depending on how I split things up at the end for book 1. And yes, each part has, I think, between maybe 7 and 13 or 14 chapters in it. And I suppose one way to do it would be to just go intensely on one part at a time and pull a part together and then release that, and release the book one part at a time, or sort of, a chapter a day until the part is done. And then, I suppose the only problem is, I won't know then, and you won't know then when the next part is coming out. It'll just be when I'm finished. Which, from what I've seen, isn't a great way to release books online. But most of what I was looking at was sort of, those who are sort of, they're the pulp writers now. It's the online writers who can do up to 1 million words a year, and I know I'm just not capable of doing that because I'm too much of a perfectionist when it comes to editing. It just takes too much. So that, I suppose, since it's not really possible to keep a very, very regular schedule anyway, it shouldn't really be a problem releasing them a part at a time. Well, I'd hope not anyway. And at least then, writing is getting out. Oh dear. I really just want to write more of my main magical project. I'd gotten behind in I like watching Miraculous, the Ladybug and Cat Noir series. I really enjoy it. I think it's super sweet, and I think it's very exciting, and sort of gives me the same sort of oomph that some other magical girl, magical boy animes. Did I just say animes with an S at the end? I'm so sorry. The plural is anime. Yeah, the same sort of feels. I think watching a lot of Ladybug, well, I can access Ladybug, it's harder to access anime, but watching a lot of Ladybug may help get me back in the right sort of mindset for writing the main magical project. Because I think I've started to worry a little bit with my main magical project that I hope I'm not, but I'm concerned that there's a little bit of, violence glorification in there, so I'm really going to have to go through and make sure that's not happening. Oh dear, because that's not a path I want to go down, so I've got to be careful there. Oh, my baby sister loves watching Ladybug. I love Ladybug. My small one loves it too, so it's good to have shows we can watch together. But it's sweet, but it's still, it's got the really high stakes. And I just love the Ladybug, Cat Noir, and Marinette Adrian relationships. It's just, wonderfully, wonderfully done. And all the friends. Alia's fantastic. And it was just so exciting, later on in the series, just watching what happens with the other Miraculouses. And, dear. Trying not to give any spoilers. Generally, I don't mind spoilers, but, I have to remind myself, people are not blue. I think in general, people don't enjoy spoilers. Oh, dear. Water time. Sorry. But yes, I've just seen... well, at least in Australia, I don't know if anywhere else, but I think it's only fairly recently Disney Plus has gotten everything on there for Ladybug, and I'd only seen a few scattered episodes of season 5, so started from the beginning of season 5 and getting up to date. Yeah, not gonna lie, it also kind of interested me too, especially how Ladybug and the Catboy somehow don't know each other. I know! It's like every time the secret almost comes out, it's like, come on, guys, come on. I think it's actually one of the few shows that get me frustrated about the relationships. Like, come on, you just full on, you guys belong together, come on. Usually that sort of stuff doesn't bother me at all, but for some reason in Ladybug and Cat Noir it does. Oh dear. It's a really good show. Oh dear. And I remember getting a bit pouty one time when I was trying to express my love of the show, just said, they thought the animation looked cheap. I don't think it looks cheap. I like the animation. Well, you can very much notice when some models are recolored and reused, but animation is a hard thing to do, I imagine. I definitely can't do it. Oh dear. Bluey does that too, just recolors models for different characters. Imagine it's just what happens in animation. It's how you get the job done without, destroying yourself. They put on a mask that only covers their eyes and somehow they don't recognize each other. Well, they are magical masks. That's, with, my main magical project, it's, magical boys, girls, friends, all of that. And, they've got their magical outfits, armors, whatever's there. It's always include a hood, and they have a lower face mask covers nose, mouth, chin, down over the throat and joins up to the undershirts of the costume. But you can see the upper part of their face, and they've got I think they've got slightly different versions. For Kaz at least, his is just a single lens over one eye. I think a few of them have the double lens, so it's more like floating coloured shades. But yes, I think that Kaz's siblings, they see their sibling as a magical and can't even recognize them. And I think there's at one point, even if a sibling knows that the other one is magical and knows it's them beneath them, when they've got the mask and hood up, they still can't visually recognize them at all. So I started watching Blue and all of a sudden my headphones went missing. Conclusion, using her magical shenanigans, Blue stole my headphones. What could I possibly use your headphones for when I have a perfectly lovely pair clamped over my ears right now? If they were earbuds, on the other hand, I would consider stealing those. I have realized recently that I may have a need for earbuds when out walking. But earphones, what could Blue do if Blue just started stealing everyone's headphones? Is there a purpose Blue could have for stealing everyone's headphones? Not necessarily nefarious, just... what could Blue use a whole bunch of headphones for? My only thought is a sculpture, but why would Blue create a sculpture out of headphones? Because you're a conqueror. I will conquer your headphones. Trophies, I suppose. But why would I take your headphones as a trophy? Too much thinky thought. It's too late for thinky thoughts. Just don't blow us up, please. I'm not gonna blow you up. Blue knows nothing about explosives. Blue may be a library, but that doesn't mean she reads everything, and that doesn't mean she has such books in her what's the term? In her catacomb. Does Blue have catacombs? I suppose she isn't magical library. Blue might have catacombs. Does Blue have catacombs? She'll make a throne out of the stolen headphones out of the Iron Throne. Oh dear. Headphone throne. Well, it'd probably be a lot more comfortable than the Iron Throne, given, squishy headphone material. I imagine that would be very comfy to sit on. I imagine it'd be very comfy to bounce on, too. That would be a wonderfully comfy throne. Oh dear, I don't think Blue belongs on a throne, though. I'm not sure anyone belongs on a throne, but in particular, Blue does not belong on a throne. Notice she wears feathered cap, not a crown. Oh dear, how many VTubers do wear crowns? The only one I can think of off the top of my head is Suisei. I suppose Suisei also wears another hat, doesn't she? She has crown and hat. I don't think Blue should wear a crown. That is bad. Which of my characters wear crowns? There's a one of my magicals gets a circlet as part of their magical costume / armor. In homage, in small ways, to Sailor Moon. There's a lot of homages to magical anime. Probably mostly to Sailor Moon, but also to the there haven't been nearly enough magical boy and magical others anime. The main one still being, Binan Koko, Rabu Rabu, Cute High Earth Defense Club. I adored that so much. And again, without the existence of that anime, Main Magical Project probably wouldn't have come into being. So how many things did Main Magical Project need to happen? Well, there's the original anime source material, which I'm still not naming, because I think, people who know it will recognize it, will recognize the, the influence when they read it. So there's Cute High Earth Defense Club, there's Sailor Moon, Sakura, and a bunch of other magical girl anime. There's Ruby. And there's one of my own stories. My what is it? I can think. One of my dystopian stories that I was working on a lot at the time when I came up with the original fic. So they share a few very similar threads, but a lot of my stories share similar threads because I've been working on them all at the same time for the past 15 years or so, so they share a lot of ideas. I wonder if Blue can make a good VTuber lore writer. I don't know. I mean, I'd be happy to give it a go if any VTuber asked me, but I don't know. I mean, I suppose it's something that would be fun to try, but, you know, it's another thing that would take away from focusing on my stories, and there's already so much that's taking away from focusing on my stories. Oh, has there ever been a story that left such a deep impression on you that it kind of changed your outlook on some stuff? Let Blue think. Well, the books that probably left the biggest impression on me lately is in the last 5 years or so. Well, slightly longer than 5 years? 5 years, around then. Were the Raven Boys books by Maggie Stiefvater. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing her name incorrectly. I keep meaning to look up someone actually saying it so I know I'm getting it right, but I keep forgetting. I remember those having still a huge lasting impact on me. I mean, there's that story and how everything is woven together is just insane and beautiful and strange. And I suppose, you know, she's the only writer who's really made me wish her style was mine. Which isn't a great way to think about it, I guess, because I do like my style most of the time. But she is a beautiful writer. That left such a deep impression on you that it kind of changed your outlook on some stuff. I'm just trying to think of books that have really left me in a place when I've finished reading them. As in, you know, unable to sort of move on, unable to stop thinking about them. I know there have been those books, just off the top of my head. What are they? For the life of me, I can't think of them. I know they are there somewhere because I remember how I felt after reading those sort of things. It's just, you know, windswept. And just, you know, just can't think of anything else for ages. But I really cannot think of what they are. I feel like a terrible reader. Oh dear. If I can think of them, if I can think of any, or if any randomly occur to me at another point, I'll bring them up. Dear. I suppose that just shows as well Blue doesn't read nearly as much as she should. So, yeah, it's a problem. I'm trying to make myself read at least one chapter a night now, just so there is reading happening. And we know Blue wants to read. It's just, again, something that seems so simple that is somehow difficult for me to do. Various reasons. Oh, my dearie me. I'm just going to look up my lyrics so I am ready, because we are approaching midnight here, and that seems like a sensible time to stop, particularly given it only took us 20 minutes to finish the epilogue of the War of the Worlds. Oh dear, that means in 4 minutes for me, it will be March. Oh, March. Blue's birthday is in March. Right at the end, the 29th of March. That is Blue's birthday. I have not really thought about any sort of birthday stream as such. It just almost seems like a silly thing for Blue to do at this point. And it might be a little difficult this year anyway, because Blue's birthday is Good Friday. and stuff goes on around that time. So I don't know. Oh, that's right. I'd been kind of thinking around Easter I wanted to do a karaoke of all of Jesus Christ Superstar because Blue can. But again, would involve procuring all of the backing track. Well, procuring the backing tracks for an entire musical, which might be a little intense, but that would be fun to do. Fun to do one time, maybe. Oh dear. But yes, as far as birthday stream goes, Blue probably won't really have a proper one this year. I mean, she'll probably mention birthday at one point if she streams around then, but oh, I don't know. Unless anyone thinks of anything they think would be nice to do for Blue's birthday. Blue being a very small writing VTuber. I don't know. I don't think I've really seen any VTubers celebrate their birthdays who aren't big corporation ones, and they just normally have nice chats and people calling in and releasing merch, and none of those are really things Blue would probably do. Oh well, that's okay. That's okay. Oh, excuse me. I suppose it's an appropriate time for the yawns to be setting in. Blue will probably ignore all of the housework that requires doing for a little longer. And, try to go to bed very soon. But tomorrow, Blue will be attempting pulling something together for her first collaboration. And that's not going to be, both of us together on stream. It's a little difficult to organise with the time zone differences. But Blue is pulling something together for her to make a video, because she is more of a making videos, lovely writing VTuber, a world building VTuber. And I am at this point more of a streamer, and so she's creating something fun for us to do on stream. Oh, okay, I'll be looking forward to that. Yes, I will be aiming to do it at a time slightly more convenient for the North American located people, because that is where she is located, and it'd be cool if she could sort of pop in for fun while we are doing the lovely tasks she has prepared for us. But yes, I have pulled together all my stuff that I need to do for her, but I still need to sort of record it, get it all together. And I had been planning on doing that today, but the small one was ill, and so that didn't happen. So tomorrow, hopefully. I am hoping that it sort of works and goes off with very few hitches. Because Blue's not sure how well she'll handle troubleshooting at this point. Also, I hope I don't take too long. I think our aim was to make it about 5 minutes, but I haven't actually had a practice yet, so I have a feeling Blue's going to go over time. Blue has a habit of that. Well, anyway, as we get closer to the collaboration events, I will of course be promoting her video to you, and she will promote the upcoming stream to her lovely people, and it shall be good. I keep saying her and not giving name. I was wondering whether or not I should, but it should be fine giving you her name. She is Amai Goody, and she is a wonderful, wonderful world-building VTuber who has videos full of wonderful advice about world building, and also lots of really cool videos related to her own world and her own stories. And I haven't read a huge amount of them yet, but what I did read had me reasonably spellbound. Yes, I can type that. That's a good idea. I'm pretty sure that's correct. And she is wonderful, and she deserves all of your support, because she is, you know, not only a wonderful person, but an incredible resource to creatives. And yes, I'm probably going to be referring to one of her videos in particular during my Saturday stream, when I'm talking about conlangs, or the conlang that I'm trying to pull together for my main magical project. She is very good at conlangs, so I do recommend looking at her stuff. Oh dear. But yes, she is my first collaboration, so I am reasonably nervous, but hopefully we'll all go well. Hopefully. Ooh, I love world building. I do highly recommend then. Oh dear. So it is now 2 minutes past 12. It's now the 1st of March here. We've hit the 1st of March. It means I need to change the calendar. I wonder what kitties will be on this month. Gotta have a kitty calendar. Oh well, turned into an interesting chatting stream, didn't it? We sort of bounced around everywhere. It's nice when we can do that, isn't it? Very pleasant. But I'm sorry if you were looking forward to a slightly more in-depth reading stream. I was not really expecting to get through the rest of the book in only 20 minutes. Oh, that's something we didn't go into, like thoughts for more reading related streams. I'll probably lean away from them slightly for a little while until I fully figure out what I'd like to do. Now, this was really fun. I'm glad. I suppose I've been a little shy in general of scheduling, you know, chatting only streams, because I guess the concern, you know, what do I have to talk about? And, you know, more than what do I have to talk about? Do people really want to listen to me just ramble on about these sort of things? And can I really be entertaining doing that? So I'm glad. I'm really glad that you did get something out of this. Oh yes. So we'll probably lean a little bit away from reading streams until I can figure out more what I'm going to do with them. I think I've said this so many times now, but I would really love it if I could find, you know, indie authors or web authors who have really, you know, wonderful books, and I'd love it if I could contact them and, you know, read the first 3 or so chapters on stream of their works, and then, you know, have a little chat about what's going on with them. And then, you know, if we could wrangle it, even have them on for a bit of a chat, that would be fun. But again, Blue's aversion to contacting people. And, you know, this one's going to make Blue sound like an enormous snob, which he probably is, but Blue has difficulty finding, I suppose, particularly web novels that I can read, that, you know, are very, very well written. And I know that's an unfair standard to hold indie authors and web writers to, when they, you know, just don't have the same resources that traditionally published authors do. Blue just has difficulty reading something if it doesn't flow and read easily. It just doesn't work. And I suppose it just makes Blue work an awful lot harder, and Blue already has difficulty reading. So yes, it would take a lot to actually, you know, find books first, and then there's contacting the authors, and it all piles up, so I'm not sure quite what I'm going to do yet. But there is coming up on the 16th, the if anyone was able to write stories related to our brainstorming stream a couple of weeks ago, I'll be reading those out on the 16th. So I guess that counts as a reading stream, doesn't it? I don't know if anyone will be able to, and I don't want to sort of hold anyone to that. I only want people to do it if they find themselves in a position to do it. And so, you know, if the day comes and there's no stories to read, and we chat. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. At least I think people enjoyed the brainstorming stream. And I'll probably do another one soon after the reading. Soon after the reading stream, assuming there are things to read. Oh dear. My throat's starting to go. I should probably call it around there. So again, it did turn into a bit of an interesting stream. You know, maybe less than a quarter of reading and mostly just chatting. But I think it was good. I think it was good, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. Oh dear. So that means I really need to finish pulling together Saturday's stream. I guess with Saturday, please expect scuff. I will do my best, but come in prepared for scuff. As Blue fumbles to try to figure out a few very, very simple things. But hopefully I'll get a chance to sort of test them first and make sure I'm doing it right. And you probably won't even notice what I'm doing because it's that simple. But Blue gets anxious about things, as you may have noticed. But yes, so Saturday we will be working on the conlang for my main magical project, which in general for the story itself I mostly just use for the naming conventions to make sure the names sound like they come from the same language. But I thought it would be nice to actually try to pull it together as much as we can language-wise. And, you know, have some of the grammar there, have a bunch of words and be able to actually... I think I'd like the aim by the end of the stream is to, you know, have a few example sentences down in the conlang. That would be fun. But, again, not quite sure how it's going to wind up going because something Blue hasn't really tried before. And Blue has not made a thumbnail yet. That's another job for either tomorrow after I've done the stuff for the collab, or, you know, I'll rush it on Saturday if I have to. Blue probably shouldn't be too concerned about thumbnails because she's that bad at making them. There's probably no point in trying too hard. Oh well. In any case, thank you so much for being here. It's been so lovely chatting with you. And wherever you are in the world, good night to you, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and I hope the rest of your day is absolutely lovely, because that's what you deserve. Let's sing our goodbyes. Let's see if I start in I keep starting in a lower key than I mean to, which is fine. I can hit them, but I think it sounds better a little higher. Let's see if my voice can do it. Oh, for the money that here I had, I have spent it in good company. Oh, and all the harm I've ever done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done for want of wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fill to me the parting glass. Good night, and joy be to you all. Thank you. Take care. And to you as well. Thanks for the stream. You're so welcome. And until next time. Bye bye.